Welcome! I'm so glad you're here. I'm Gila Ross, author of Living Beautifully and host of the Confident Parent podcast, the podcast you need to listen to bring more joy, more ease, and more intention so that you can be the parent you want to be for your kids. In a previous episode, we looked at Kodak Moments, a simple tool to be present and give our kids the positive attention we want to give them. In this episode, we're going to learn how to build on this tool to actually powerfully teach our kids the values we want them to learn or the skills that we're trying to teach them.
The first question I want to ask is, I want to throw out there, what values do we want to teach our children? There is a mitzvah in Judaism to have children. And Rav Hirsch, who was a rabbi that lived in Germany a couple hundred years ago, he writes amazing ideas on Judaism. And he says that the mitzvah of having a child is not just to physically give birth to a child, but it is to give birth to a child and then to raise that child to adulthood, to look after that child physically, emotionally, and spiritually, right? So, we're sitting here talking about the values that we want to teach our children and how we want them to be the next generation of proud Jews that are going to continue on the heritage and have all those different values that some of you mentioned. But I think it's also amazing to think that it's a mitzvah, right? It's a holy work that we are engaged in. Okay, so how do we teach values to our children? The very easy question that I'm sure off the top of the head we can all answer without batting an eyelid. I was joking. It's not such an easy question. If it was such an easy question, everyone would be such a fabulous parent. How do we teach our children values?
Lead by example.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. Monkey see, monkey do.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, is one of our principles.
It is number five. Live the message. On a day-to-day basis, though, we want our children, let me just pick on honesty. I think that's one that we can all agree on, right? You want your child to be honest. If you think about when was the last time you probably spoke to your child about honesty? Or you know what? Whatever value you said, when was the last time you mentioned that value to your child? In what sort of context? And you don't have to give details if you don't want to, but
we tend to do it when they're not doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant. Yes. It is what it is, right? As parents and as educators and as human beings, we often point it out when they're not doing it, right? Now, let's get back to what we were saying last week, where children want our energy. Right? Now, if you think about it, if your child tells a lie, right? Or if your child, says something not nice to their sibling and you give them a 5-minute lecture, yes, it's negative, but you're giving them 5 minutes of your time. Now, what we want to do is we want to reverse that, and we want to give our children our energy and our time when they are doing things right? Because also the other thing is and this is especially with kids that are more prone to do things wrong, is that if every time they hear about a certain value is when they're not doing it, they're going to get a very negative association with it. Today we're going to show you how to use something that's called experiential recognition, where we as parents, as empowered parents, get to use what our children are doing to teach the values that we want to do. Now, it's got to be genuine, right? Kids, they know. Human beings, we know when people are genuine or not. Our kids, for sure, they know when we're genuine or not, right? Now, let me ask you a question. How not great is it when your child says something not kind?
Sometimes embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, okay. What happens if you have a let's go with the embarrassment, right? You're out in public and your child says to some stranger a horrible word, right? It doesn't have to be a swear word, just like a not nice word, or like calls someone a name or calls your friend's child a name or whatever, how not great do you feel about that?
You feel not great about yourself. You think,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I have not raised this child correctly.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. You feel not great. You feel, as Amy said, you feel, what am I doing wrong, right? Now, what I want you to do is to take that feeling of not greatness and to transform it into when your child isn't messing up, right? Now, your child is not saying anything not nice. That's great. You don't have that embarrassment. You don't have to worry that you're raising whatever. You don't have to worry that you're failing as a parent, right? You have to take those feelings, think to yourself of how not great it is when your child talks back to you, when your child is whatever it is that your particular child is doing at the moment, and then transform that into how great it is when your child is not messing up. Okay, so let's try and practically figure out how we can do an experiential recognition. Let's just say your child is on a video game, 100% focused. Anyone has any idea how you can turn that into an experiential recognition? Okay, so basically what you want to do is you want to describe the moment, a Kodak moment, and then extend that to include a value.
This child has great concentration.
Brilliant, right? So you could turn around to your child, thanks Ronnie, you could turn around to your child and say, oh, I see that you're playing this and this game. Wow, I see that you have so much focus on that. That shows me that you can concentrate so well. There you go. You've taken a totally neutral moment and you've turned it into a powerful, positive moment for your child. Now, what are you doing? You're doing a number of things. Number one is you are very clearly communicating your values. You're communicating that you value concentration. You're giving your child, you're filling them up with inner wealth and you're building their self-esteem. I'll give you another example. Let's just say you have two kids and one of them annoys the other one and you see the other one getting really, really, really angry. And what they do is they throw their toy down and storm out the room. What could you possibly say that would turn that into a Kodak moment with experiential recognition?
I don't know exactly what to say, but I mean, it's brilliant that they didn't actually get up and hit them because mine would.
There you go. So you could say something, Amy, like, I see that your brother really annoyed you. And I see how much self-control you had not to shout at them or not to hit at them, but you just walked out that room. That shows me how much self-control you have, right? What are you doing there is you're taking a moment, which is, and the truth is, depending on your child, it is self-control, right? How easy and how not great does it make us feel when the kids, they get annoyed and the kid takes and swats the other kid back, right? We don't love it. Take that energy. They didn't do it, and transfer it and say and communicate how impressed you are that they had the self-control you do it. And at the same time, what you're doing is you're communicating the value that you value self-control. I'm going to give you your homework, your prescription for this week. Okay. So what I want, the homework is we are going to try and continue with the Kodak moments, but we're going to try and do several experiential recognition moments, right? And again, we are human beings, and not only are we human beings, but I think we also have to recognize that we are parenting at the moment during very difficult times, right? A friend said to me today, she said, life is heavy. And the truth is, it is, life is more stressful. So I think number one is we have to be kind to ourselves. And just like, you use those Kodak moments and those experiential recognition with your children, you use it for yourself as well. I got the kids into bed and I almost lost my temper, but I didn't. You know what? That shows that I have fantastic self-control, right? you fill yourself up as well with them. But I think the first thing is to recognize that we are parenting during harder times at the moment, and to be extra kind with ourselves. Now, what we want to do is we want to try and do several of these. If you could do several an hour, brilliant. If you could do several a day, brilliant. However many you do, they are going to be powerful and positive, and you are going to fill your child up. And even young children, right? It seeks in, no matter how old your child is, even even babies, when you talk to them, their face lights up, right? So no matter how old your child is, they will get gain from it. Be creative, right? Sometimes you may have to invent it, right? For example, when I said that video game one, most of us, it's not, you come in and you see your child on the video game again. It's not like, whoa, that's such a thrilling moment, right? But that's our choice as parents, right? Think back to the baby steps moments when you see your child standing up and walking, and you make it into a positive thing. That's our choice as parents, to be those empowered parents, and to create those moments of success where we can communicate our values to our children, and to really fill them up from the inside and build their sense of self.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, your questions for future episodes. And please take a moment, think about someone else who might benefit from this, and forward it on to them. If you enjoyed this podcast, you'll love my book, Living Beautifully, for more insights on how to bring meaning, joy, love into your life based on timeless Jewish wisdom. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out.